Hey, so what's up, YouTube? It's Evan with Adrift Intercourse, and we did it. This is the first one. This is gonna be my first reaction video that I'm doing on this channel, and the reason why I'm doing this one is because I kind of feel like it's time. I've actually looked at this video maybe like 4 times today, so I kind of just want to go ahead and get my input out here, and the main reason of this channel is for us just to kind of partake on a little bit different explanation on some of the events that may happen throughout our life. So this is with Kevin Samuels, the podcast. This is with Fresh and Fit After Hours. Just came out a couple of days ago, so just want to go ahead and give you guys my reaction on it. And so let's go ahead and get into this.
Why is that so important to you, Amanda?
I hate to admit it, but I do. Like, I'm half a man. I'm just a pretty girl. And I don't think that I should have to accept less in life because I was born with different equipment. I think that's bullshit.
Well, if you're half a man, then you should understand this full concept that men don't care about fair.
I don't have to care about fair either.
No. Men don't care about fair, or else we wouldn't conquer other people. You're of European descent. Looks like you're from your people are from the Caucasus Mountains, European descent. So
I am very white, yes.
That's fine. And some of them, and there's a lot, and between a lot of warring tribes, Germania, the Franks, if we cared about fairness, we would just let everybody stay on their land. Vikings wouldn't have raped and pillaged. England would have stayed on its island. Scotland would have been all right. Ireland would have been all right. Matter of fact, Hong Kong wouldn't have been a British protectorate for how many years? Oh, until the last, 30 or 40? Men don't care about fair. We conquer. It's winners and losers.
Straight up. Okay, so here we go, right? Men don't care about fairness. It's winners and the losers, right? We conquer. And I'm just kind of reflecting back on my life. I would say that I do kind of care about, fairness on things or on issues, but it's one of those things that, you realize that you can't really do anything about. You can only really kind of control your actions or your reactions to how life kind of happens to you, right? So once you notice that things are unfair, it's just kind of like, damn, that's not ideal, but how can I overcome this, right? So, and the fact that we conquer winners and losers, it's really sad that that's kind of the reality in which the majority of the world lives in. But I would say that doesn't have to be your reality on what you want to accept. Now, granted, right, we do have the choice to feel and kind of imagine how we want the life to be or how we want to live our lives to ourselves. But if we want to interact with the world, it's also important that we understand the wavelengths of what people are on, right? So the majority of people are on this winners and losers, right? At least in America, that's kind of how it is, right? You're either first or you're last. That's pretty much how that goes. So very interesting point that he brought up here.
Right? You're half a man.
I didn't know that only men were part of conquering.
Well, name me some great female warriors that have dominated the planet.
The reason why he's saying that like you're half a man is because she had mentioned earlier that she sees herself as part of a man too, because like she feels like she can do pretty much anything that a man could do. She's just born with a female body, but that doesn't make her any different than a man. So that's kind of where her take is on this. And to preference this, I would say that this call is taking place at the end of like a 2.5 hour podcast that's been going on between these three ladies and this group of men here. So she, at this point, she is a little bit irritated because of like all the information she's been bombarded with at this point in time. But that's still, at least for me, you're on the podcast, you're on this. Like, I always give 100% of my energy, no matter how long it's been, right? That's just kind of how I've been kind of taught to do. do things. So I'm not making an excuse for her for, you know, how she's going to act during this. But I will say that is why she has some of these responses. So, I mean, it's kind of good to understand the full picture here so that we can really look and see how we can actually grow from this interaction that she's having. Okay.
I mean, I'm learning new education here, which is only men conquer.
No.
I mean, that's what you're telling me, right?
No. Well, see, what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to switch that. I'm asking about fairness. And I said about fairness. Why is fairness so important? You said because you're half a man.
Because if you expect something of me, I should be allowed to expect the same of you. And if you can't offer me that, you don't deserve to be in my life.
But that has nothing to do with fairness.
It has everything to do with fairness.
No, fairness means you get an opportunity. Fairness doesn't mean you get an outcome.
So fairness means you get an opportunity. It does not mean you get an outcome. That right there, I would say that's probably going to be one of the key takeaways from this video here. The fact that, you know, when you look at your life and everything that you've had up until this point, considering where you're at, like especially like if you know you're in America and things of that nature, I would say that it's hard for us to really judge fairness, because if we compare ourselves to other regions of the world, we would be at a more advantageous position than most. But if we're only thinking within our immediate circle, then, you know, that allows us to kind of judge a little bit, hey, is this fair or is this not fair, right? But the idea that he is proposing is that fairness is allowing, is to be able to have the opportunity, which is really deep, mainly because, like, we all have an opportunity to change and dictate how our life goes, right? It doesn't have to be the way that it's kind of set in stone, but how you perform in that dictates what your results would be. Very interesting.
You get an interview, not guaranteed a job.
No, you're not. But I work very, very hard to ensure that I keep it.
Well, if that's the case, you should. If that's the case,
right?
If that's the case, then if that's the case, you should be able to secure the things you want. So you should have no problem.
Obviously not. Not when men are out here believing like you don't have to be fair.
Well, those two things can't exist in the same place.
Women haven't even been part of human history. It's just men, and all we care about is conquering.
Well, no. You just said you work very hard, so you should get the outcomes. See, if hard work was all that required, then we would almost be guaranteed. Hard work gets you a ticket to the dance. It doesn't guarantee you the top spot. How many? Who lost the Super Bowl, guys?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Can you say they worked hard this year?
Very hard.
Number 2. Men don't worry about fairness. We worry about winning. And to the victor goes the spoils. Just like, you know what? How many times you've gotten to a club into VIP for free when some ugly chicks had to pay full price?
Is that my fault?
No. I've asked how many times it happened before you go down that path.
I mean, plenty of times in Miami.
Exactly, but that's not fair, is it?
Well, please don't forget I'm not from here.
But that's not the point, ma'am. That's not fair, is it?
I also don't care about those things.
But so you
point, right? It's hard to have a conversation with her, mainly because like she's not wanting to engage in the topic of what is fairness, right? Because at this point it really just seems like she has a lack of understanding of like what, at least the idea that he's trying to get across to her is that what is this thing called fairness. Because once we're able to understand what fairness is, then we can actually really unpack this. But we can't really unpack it until we have a agreed on opinion or understanding of what fairness actually is, right? So very interesting.
You only care about fairness when it doesn't benefit you.
I just don't go to clubs that often.
But that's not the point. I asked you, how many times have you gone to a club where you got in for free, where ugly chicks or less attractive chicks had to pay? And you know that's happened. You didn't say, I'm still, excuse me, sir. Even though I'm attractive, I demand that you charge me full price. That's fair, right?
Okay, so because
fair?
In a place
That though, like for real though. I mean, you get opportunity. Listen, you get the opportunity to go into the club. You know those people out that be out around the club that's like, hey, come with me, I'll get you in, right? And they just go ahead and walk you in. Who's not gonna take that opportunity. Man, listen, if I can save some money, I definitely try to save some money so that way I can go and spend it, like on get some drinks or something like that, right? But the reality is, that's just not fair. It's just kind of how the game works. And the thing with life is that we are all in this game, right? So really, it's just like, how do we use our opportunities to the best of our abilities?
Fair.
That means that I should
Is that
get.
fair? Before we go that, I'll answer your question if you at least answer mine. Is that fair?
Life isn't fair.
Well,
But
if that's the case, you accept it in the sexual marketplace too.
it doesn't mean I have to accept other people's
No.
bullshit.
Well, see, the thing is, ma'am, see what you've proven, like many feminists and many women, you're okay with the double standards that benefit you. But the ones you don't like, you just throw at the wind, you use sign language, shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right to deflect and dismiss guys who are normally intimidated by this thing. I'm not. I'm just challenging your positions. You're okay with it not being fair when it benefits you.
You're oversimplifying a very complex situation.
No, it's not really complex.
But how is he oversimplifying this? It's really, he's just trying to drill down the fact of what is fair, right? And using examples that are pretty simple to understand for people to be able to see, like, okay, yeah, I can easily see the correlation between, is this fair, is this not fair? This is nothing really complicated on what she's talking about. At this point, she's really just kind of talking in circles. It's unfortunate just because, like, you have this opportunity to really, engage in the conversation, but how she's engaging, it's like you're just blowing your opportunity here. I mean, that's just how I feel.
Not really complex. There are no such thing as loyal. The concept of a loyal, highly effective, competitive alpha is a female notion.
And have to continue to compete with other pretty girls because men are too simple to stick with one.
Well, how about this?
You have to stick with one. Yo, I'm sorry. I meant to say, man, this might be a lot of positive. But do we really have to stick with one? The main gist about what they're actually talking about here is the fact that the topper echelon, or I would say like the 1% of men, they feel like they don't have to be faithful to one woman. That's not all 1%, but the majority is. I wouldn't necessarily say the majority, but the sentiment is that if you have more resources, you're able to have more options, and then you're able to dictate how you want your life to be. But by you having these resources, wouldn't that be fair? I mean, isn't that kind of the reason, like, why you get all these resources? Now, again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's up to the individual on how they decide to live their life, because, let's be honest, this life is about our experience that we have, and so it's important that we live it to the best of our abilities from what we want, because all we know is that there's no second chance to go back in time to redo this as of right now. So you might as well just go ahead and make the most of it while you can, about being respectful, being safe, and things of that nature. But at the same time, still, do all you can to make sure that your life is fulfilling and leave the things that you want to leave behind you.
How about this? The kind of men you're talking about are simple enough to make the light you live in, the air conditioning, all the stuff that you... Hold on, excuse me, ma'am. The simple men built the world that you use.
I built my own world. So
no, ma'am, you used the world we built. No, ma'am, you used the world men built. Name me 5 great female inventors. I'll give you one. Madam Curie.
I can't believe you. So you're telling me that men and...
No, ma'am, I just asked you a question and you just... No, you go... See, you're answering questions with questions. You're talking about building. Name me 5 great female inventors or builders. Madam Curie.
5 inventors or builders? That's a really great question.
So when she says that, honestly, she doesn't know. And for me, I don't even know, right? I can't even name you one great female inventor. I know, it's sad. I gotta... Hey, you know what? That's something I can go ahead and definitely work on, right? But yeah, at this point, she's really just like kind of deflecting, just because she really doesn't have anything to really talk back about him on these issues. Now, to this point about saying that, like, she lives in the world that these so-called simple men created, I would say that that's actually true, but it's not just for her, it's all of us, right? we're not out here reinventing electricity, reinventing air conditioners, cell phones, and things of that nature. No, we are consumers, and we're currently, at least in this generation, you know, we're consumers, and we're taking part of the things that have been laid out before us. I do feel that it's important that we do recognize that, and that we do continue to make the most and expand on the progress that they have left behind us, right? So that's very important.
That really is. Yeah, I was gonna. Well, also, I don't remember the lady's name, but there's a bunch of buildings in Miami.
Take it. Go on and do it. Go on and do it.
Go.
Take it. She's afraid. Go on and do it. Go on and get on in there, baby girl. You got it.
Miami was established by a woman.
Congratulations. But the Miami, the land was established by, but this country was first landed by who? Men or women?
Men.
Exactly.
I agree with you.
And see, the thing is, I've done this show about survival, and you can go back to Bear Grylls' Island Number 2. Man, you can only be a feminist in a first world country.
True. Just because a lot of women, they are not granted these freedoms that we have here, right? So I do think, you know, while we are in a position of privilege, it's also important for us to look back and realize that the rest of the world really isn't as far along with giving women the rights that we have here in America. So it's important that, at least to me, that I feel like, you know, we do more to expand on the rights here, but also look to broaden the rights for women all over. Just because, you know, like he's gonna mention, I'm a original feminist in the idea that I believe that women should have the right to vote. They should have the right to contribute to society if they want to contribute and do all these things. I mean, they're no different from us as men. They have a brain. They bleed. They can give blood. They can do it. Pretty much everything, same thing that we can do, except for, you know, we have our physiological differences between our bodies, right? But for the most part, like, they're able to think just like we're able to think, and they're able to comprehend just like we're able to comprehend. I feel like it's very easy to say that women are more emotional, but honestly, that's not true. Men are highly emotional as well, but we just don't have the space to be able to openly express our emotions based off of how society has been for us so far. And in some cases, you can even say that men are even more emotional than women. Like, you know, our egos are a thing, but our egos are emotions. Would that not be right? So it's kind of hard to say that women are only solely emotional, because that's not true. And it's nothing wrong with your emotions. The key thing is knowing what these emotions are and how to handle them. Because in life, your life is really about how do you react, or what choices do you make based on what you are presented. So I do feel like it's important for us to be in tune with our emotions, because our emotions can help us make the correct decisions. But on the flip side, it can also lead us to making the wrong decisions. But that's where a balance, I really feel, is needed. And with a lot of content out there, they're not talking about balances. They're really only just talking about one side, really trying to appeal to one base. But again, with me, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm really just trying to kind of break down these barriers, see things from both sides, and really just kind of have that dialogue between what both sides are. So let's continue.
There's a hierarchy of needs. You are correct. We
don't need you.
College.
And we don't need you. You need us.
Great.
And yeah, I can't agree with him saying that we don't need women. It's a well, let me go and continue real quick. No.
And we don't need you. You need us.
Great. I don't need you either.
I know we need you. We don't need you for survival. You need us for survival.
Okay, so
That's where I don't entirely agree. I really felt we need each other in order to survive. If you're thinking back in caveman or that era and things of that nature, it's it's easy to look at what history tells us it's like, but as we know, it's it is it's not the same of being there. So we don't know how many women actually participating in hunting, right? We just kind of like, at least for me, I feel like we kind of just, kind of made up the whole entire idea that men were out here hunting and the women were out here, gathering and all this other stuff like that, right? I think it could have been a little bit of both, right? Just because you don't. Again, I just feel like it could have been a little bit of both, right? And this notion that women are solely dependent on men, I can't get with, just because like that's not true. Especially now and how society has advanced now. I mean, like, you can see it. Women have become more independent, and that is a very good thing. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I don't feel like my identity as a man is challenged by a woman who's further off than me and things of that nature. The main reason why is because, like, for me, it's like, okay, so you're making and I'm making, then like, we can kind of, we can actually build our money together, put our resources together to do something more, do something better. I don't feel threatened by, or I don't feel any type of way if you're providing more, right? That doesn't for me, that doesn't phase me, or that doesn't bruise me and things of that nature. I feel that a lot of men wouldn't have a problem with it if women wouldn't throw it in their faces in an argument, because I feel like the main issue for men in these types of relationships would be the looking down or less on, right? Because like, you may be making you're making more money than me, so therefore you got to do what I say, that type of thing. That's not a relationship, like that's a parent. And for me, I'm not trying to be anybody's parent. I'm really trying to grow something and be something with somebody, right? And even if I was making $100,000, or not 100,000, I would say like $1 million or something like that, right? I would never talk to my wife or say like, hey, you just gotta go. You just have to do this because I'm the one making the money. You depend on me. You need me. Things of that nature. Like, what type of life is that, right? What type of memories are you creating from that? For me, that's not the memories that at least for me, I wouldn't want to have, or to give those memories to anybody, because for me, that's not life. That's not love. That's like I said, that's just more of a control mechanism that you can use over people. So what he's saying is that women need men to survive, I would also say that no, we really need each other, mainly because neither one of us can produce life without one another. And I feel like that's not talked about enough. It's always just like, oh, I really feel like a lot of people look at this type of topic and conversation like which came first, the chicken or the egg, right? But really what's important is that you can't have the chicken without the egg, right? It wouldn't exist, right? It wouldn't be able to do its function. Women provide the womb, men provide the seed. If you don't have anything, if you don't have the womb or the soil for the seed to nourish, is the seed fulfilling its purpose? Just like for the woman, if the woman does not have the seed in order to incubate it, is the womb fulfilling its purpose? Both just become wasted spaces. And that's really a detriment to our society, just because like that's how we die off. And so, I don't agree with what he's saying that we need women are solely dependent on men. If you want to look at history and how we have made things to be, or how we have treated women, I would say, yeah, that's correct. But again, that's only correct because of how messed up people were in delivering rights and things of that nature. But if you really look at what our physiological bodies is and the things that we can actually do for one another, like, no, we need one another.
Okay, so how
I'm trying to get you to understand, ma'am, is you have a right to your opinions.
Obviously, I don't have a right to anything
Well,
here.
no, you have a right to believe what you want, but the thing is, you're not allowed to the outcome. You're allowed to have an opinion, just like men are allowed to have an opinion, and you don't have to compete or deal in a situation that you deem is unfair. But you can't complain about the rules that are already set.
That's true, right? Again, our life, you have the opportunity to accept whatever it is that you want to accept for yourself. If you don't like it, you don't have to be there and stay there. You can actually move and change your situation. But if the thing that you don't like is the thing that you actually want, then the next thing for you to do is that you're going to have to evolve to be able to attain the thing that you actually want, even though you're not liking how it is currently working out for you. So, you really just got to kind of look at yourself to see, okay, well, what can I do different to get the outcome that I'm looking at? But again, that just goes along with, okay, you got to learn how to play the game a little bit better, but you're not like he's going to give this example later, but it's really just going to be like the fact of like playing video games, I'm not going to get good. Like, I'm not going to be the best the minute I hop on the sticks, that's not going to happen. But, after time, I learn the game, I learn the mechanics, I learn the moves and which way to block and all this other stuff like that. Then I can actually progress and become more. So like that's kind of the thing, right? They feel like they're already valuable enough. But the thing is, the game that they are trying to play requires a whole different set of characteristics than what they currently have.
You like the rules that benefit you, getting into the club for free, but you don't like the rules that benefit men. High value men have the leverage.
You because I'm 30 fucking 1 years old and I'm getting a little fed up of these men kind of attacking me. I do not go to clubs anymore. So please stop with your double standard bullshit. I work in a man's world, and if anything, I've had to work 5 times as hard in this world as a man to get where I am. So
but is that really true? I mean, if we really think about it, right? I don't really believe the whole wage inequality thing between women and men on a certain level. So I would say, I really feel like it changes once you actually become a salaried employee or a salary individual versus an hourly individual, if we're talking about, work and things of that nature. Because a lot of women in this whole feminist movement want equal pay and things of that nature, they're more talking about like salary individuals, but a lot of the women that they have champion them are more hourly individual women or people. And it's like when you're a company, like when they set the rates, between, let's say, $12 to $15, well then you can make anywhere between 12 to 15, right? It doesn't, just because I'm a man doesn't mean I'm automatically gonna make the $15. No, like based on my experiences that I have, they can just automatically put me down at 12, right? Just like a woman in that position, she may have other experiences that make her a stronger candidate to her that will cause her to be paid more. Now again, on the salary level, I can kind of see where that may be a case, just because it's a little bit different. I would say on the salary, but again, I haven't reached that point on salary yet to fully be in that world on my end yet. And then again, you got to think of like, well, what if she's talking about creating her own business or being her own boss and things like that? How do you know that you've had to work 5 times more than what men had to work? Right? Like your life is really just kind of been on like what your own personal experiences are, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's 5 times harder. It just could be that this is just a route that it needed for you to take in order to get there. You never know what somebody else is going to do in your shoes if they haven't been there, right? So that, I would say, it's really hard to kind of actually justify and quantify that information.
Oh, hold on now. Since you want to tell me you've had to, you're 31 years old and had to work in a man's world. That's a privilege. You don't. Here's the thing, ma'am. You say the problems with men. The only one that's complaining about the double standard harshly is you.
Yes,
but it benefits you too.
All the benefits.
Okay, well, here's the thing, ma'am. If you don't like, okay, ma'am, you're a competent woman, correct?
Okay, so I should quit my job and never.
No, you should build Amazonia, and make it the female utopia that benefits women.
I probably should after listening.
Well, then go ahead.
Agree with you.
And then you'd have to actually build something. You'd have to put your brawn where your mouth is.
I don't understand what you're saying again.
I'm saying that you came at me with the same line. I've had to put up at 31 years old and deal with men's bullshit. You're living in a first world country. You're in Miami, one of the most posh places on the planet, complaining about double standards that you participate in. The nerve.
I corrected you that I don't go to clubs, so you're
okay, ma'am. I just gave an example. You've been to clubs. I didn't say you continue to go. That's not the point. Now, is it?
Again, this was an example that he's given, but she's just so focused on that thing because she doesn't really have anything else to present to him, for argument's sake or for discussion's sake, anything else. So like she's really just stuck on that one thing. It's really unfortunate, just because I feel like she could progress further if she really understood the things that he was actually saying.
But see, that's another way of you trying to get me online and then correcting me because I'm a dumb man. I get the point.
No, you're very rude and very aggressive.
No, I'm very direct. And when you were doing this to the men, you had no problem showing your dick. I'm just acknowledging your balls. Because you're a tough woman.
Why? Why should I?
Why? Because I'm just giving what you give. I'm reflecting back what you give to people. But see, the thing is, you're okay giving this to people.
Okay.
I'm just challenging what you think.
These were my opinions when I came in here. I'm the one that presented these opinions.
I just listened to you for 2 nights say these things, and I'm just talking to you one-on-one. And you're not backing down. I'm just challenging what you say, man.
To a bunch of weak ass men tell me that I'm not attractive and I'm not this and I'm not that, because I am not going to back down and listen to somebody.
Okay, are you saying the men in the room with you are a bunch of weak ass men?
If you think that I should have to accept less than
no, ma'am, I don't think you should have to do anything you don't want to. You're a free person. But I'm trying to understand, who are the weak ass men you're referring to?
The Amazonia, because
who are the weak ass men you're referring to? Who are the weak ass men you're referring to?
What did I just say? I
didn't hear you because you kind of started talking over me. So could you repeat it? A bunch of weak ass men doing what?
Yes. When somebody sits here and tells me I need to accept an unfair situation, that if we applied it to anything else in life other than men and women, wouldn't be accepted by everybody in this room. But you're going to tell me that, I'm going to tell you that's bullshit. And that's not fair.
Okay, can I give a response?
There's a million issues in our culture and society today that people are fighting for fairness, but yet I'm sitting here saying, hey, I'm allowed to expect it too, and I'm going to be attacked and told.
Okay, can I respond now?
Different.
Okay, no, let me tell you something. First of all, men don't worry about fair. The sexual marketplace is not fair. All is fair in love and war. It's not fair. There are guys out there that you wouldn't give the time of day who could have a heart of gold because they don't hit your mark. Oh no, ma'am, I'll let you speak.
You don't know that.
No, I know that you don't give every man a...
It's true. Just like, I mean, you're not going to give everybody the opportunity to get to know you, right? You prejudge people based off of the first thing. No matter what anybody says, it's going to be looks, right? If somebody doesn't look attracted to you, you're not going to give them an opportunity to even get in your space to even to find out more about you, right? Just because you're not interested in that person on that level, right? So that's not. You don't have to know somebody to know that that's not true. So like what she's saying is just like, come on, man, like you're not feeling nobody here.
Know that you don't give every man a chance. chance is what I do know.
You don't. Well, actually, you don't know that at all.
Okay, okay, are you saying that you are the one female on the planet that will give every man who wanted you a shot?
No, I am not.
Okay, then I can assume that was correct. Let's
Well,
move on. Let's not get lost in. Okay, that's a deflection. Let's not get lost in that. You're talking about unfairness. Where in the world is it fair like you need it to be?
Is it fair for you here in America?
No, ma'am. I ask you, where in the world is it fair? Like, I'm not complaining about it. I deal with it. I deal with the unfairness and overcome it because I'm a man and I can deal with it.
That's true. It's about how you deal with your situations and what you're presented with and how you're able to overcome that to still excel and succeed. And that's another key nugget that he's giving away here on this video that, I would definitely encourage anybody to really, take heed to that, because again, it's like life isn't fair, it really isn't. But it's really going to be based off of like the things that we do with the choices that we're able to make from it, and how we're going to let that affect us, right? We're not. If you sit back and complain, then that's all you have to show for it. But if you actually, you take the information or you figure out ways, okay, well, how can I better myself to be more, or to get into a position where I can actually command more, to increase my likelihood for the outcome of life that I want for myself, then that's how you're able to succeed. So, I don't have any problem with what he's saying here.
And I'm asking you, where is this place? Where's this ideal place? Where's the ideal model?
It doesn't exist.
Exactly.
There's 3 women here sitting like here, never wanting to go on a date again.
Well, no. How about not wanting to go on a date? What's happened in this world more than anything else is mankind has learned how to get along with each other since recorded history. But around the 60s, when the National Organization for Women, the ERA, Phyllis Schlafly, she was on our side. When all this stuff came in, feminism, second wave, feminism, I'm a feminist. I believe in feminism. Feminism is about choice.
So you really
Excuse
are.
me, ma'am. Feminism in its true form is about choice.
Yeah, we don't have a choice right now with what's
No,
going
you
on.
have
But how do you not have a choice? You have a choice. The fact that you're able to do the things that you want to do with your life, you have a choice. You can vote. You can do a lot of things, right? You can get a house by yourself. You don't have to have a husband to sign off on a house for you, right? You can drive. You have so much that you're unaware of because you want something else. You want something more. But it's like you have a lot already. And the only thing you're doing in your life, you're just looking at the things that you don't have, saying that you have nothing, when compared to like pretty much the other half of the world, like you have everything. You have infinite possibilities. So like, miss me with that.
choice. She just exercised one right now. It got too hot. She left.
Feminist, but shit shouldn't be fair.
See, it's about choice. If a woman wanted to be a housewife, she could do it. If she wanted to be a business person, she could do it. See, the choice was about all black people wanted was a choice, freedom, to have an equal shot, not equal outcomes. Men accept these things. You don't hear men complaining about fair. If Donovan and I were playing a game of football or video game, if he was kicking my fucking ass, I would be a punk to sit up and say, it's not fair. My controller's not working. The game is rigged. That's not fair. You're better. I would have to just take my...
Hey, who does that, right? That's little kids who do that. They complain and say, hey, this ain't fair. You're cheating and all this other stuff like that. It's like, nah, bro, you just got to get good, man. You just got to learn the controls. You'll get it. You'll pick it up. But you can't throw a temper tantrum and just get mad at it right then and there and complain that shit ain't fair. I mean, come on, man. Be better than that. Be better than that. Let's go.
Ass whooping, take my L's and get better. That's what men do.
That you guys choose to be this way, and we don't want to choose to be that way. We want to be different. We don't want somebody that's going to cheat. We don't want anybody, we want someone that's going to be faithful. Why do we have to settle for these types of things that you're saying?
Well, first of all, you don't have to settle for anything. You don't have to do anything you don't want.
You don't. You can have whatever you want. But the thing is, you can't control what somebody else wants to do. Right? Your life is your life. Somebody else's life is their life. right? You have no control over that. So like what is it that you're really wanting? Like, you really just want to control people? Like, come on.
But what also does not have to happen is men don't have to be counter to their nature to make you happy.
And that's okay. So what's the issue?
The issue is that men are not the ones complaining about the state of relationships and dating as much as women are. Women wanted freedom of choice. Women wanted to be able to have sex with who they wanted to, marry who they want to, love who they want to, work where they want to, not work where they want to, go every place that men could go. You are the most free, most liberated group of women that ever existed on the human history, and yet you're the most unhappy. 1 in 4 out of you on some sort of psych meds. Women are, the marital rate is dropping with modern women. What else do you want men to do? We've civilized the world in general. We don't even have wars. You can do whatever you want to. And you're still not happy with the world that men built, telling us that we're not good enough because we don't move like women. We're not going to.
I just feel like you guys don't put in effort. I feel like
Effort. What you mean? Like, do you not know what it takes to build up to the point to where we can even like approach you as an option? For us to be an option, that is effort. That is making sure our life and credit and everything is like on point, making sure that we have a direction and that we're going and everything. Like, that's communication. That's me going out and like doing things that I would normally not do because I'm trying to attract you. That's effort. Like, what? That's the definition of that, right? I'm exerting my body to do more for an outcome. I'm giving it versus me just doing something completely else. No, like, what you mean? Like, how could you say that we don't put in effort just because you don't get the outcome and the things that you want? But now we don't put in effort? But then it doesn't even make sense for what you're saying. Miss me with that.
But most of you
Are you
not.
serious?
I do feel like you're serious.
That I don't put in effort?
I mean, the way that you're talking, it doesn't seem like it. Like,
No, but she's right in a sense, because just what you guys are saying, most guys today, those 80% of guys that
you guys
think
are used to it, so you guys
there's-
just don't even
used
put
there's
the
more-
effort
there's
Used to
more
what?
guys-
Hold on, used to what?
to not putting in effort. You guys are so used to women
no.
just falling at your lap.
So
Misconception. Women think guys just have women just falling in and falling over them. Some guys, but the majority of us, I ain't the case. No, that is completely not the case. Think like we have to work just to get 1, 2. So, but they just have this misconception that we just have a line full of chicks just waiting at our beck and call that we can just choose from and all this stuff like that. And man, really that is not, that's furthest from the truth. Don't believe the hype. You know, a lot of people make up and inflate numbers when it really ain't. It's not even like that, yo. It'd be dry.
I was born this way. Is
It's
that
because
it?
the 23-year-olds matter and not
But
that.
you know what? But the guys, let's not get lost in this, because when they can get into VIP by just being the hottest woman in the club, that's okay.
Why is that your only argument?
Yeah, and
Because it's the one that everybody understands. Because it's the one that everyone understands. And I could use more. Trust me, I'm a smart guy. I can give you more. But the point of the matter is, it's the one we understand, and the double standard benefits you, you're okay with it. What effort are women putting in today? Women still want men to move in a traditional way, but yet you're not traditional women.
I don't even know
Is there
what
a
to
crickets
say.
button?
I'm confused how I'm asking men to act in a traditional way. when
Yes, you want men to be traditional. I mean, most women. Okay, I run a show that has anywhere from 15 to 20,000 people watching every night. And women around the world consistently say they want a man that's earning in the high 5, low 6 figures. They want to have 2 to 3 kids and be married. Most women want the top 10% of men. You can go watch my channel and see this bared out: Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, and other, across the board. All these women were given an option. Do you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant? The answer comes back overwhelmingly no, meaning they want to be traditional stay-at-home housewives. They weren't raised that way. They weren't cultured that way. They're not even equipped to be that way, but yet and if you ask them, could you date an average guy earning $50,000? Even women coming straight out of college turn their nose up. Men accept this. Excuse me, ma'am. Men accept it. Can I finish my example?
Today you said he's making $80,000 and that wasn't enough.
Okay, so men accept this. Men accept the fact that college men accept the fact that they're in school right now with women their own age, that 80 years ago they could have married and had a family early on. Now they're looking at these same women, and these same women would not even look at these guys unless they're making six figures. Men have accepted the unfairness in the marketplace. It's not fair for men. 18 to 30, men used to could get married. Now you can't even really consider getting married till you're 35 plus because you have to have resources. That's the new marketplace. The thing is, but let me finish. Let me say this and I'll turn it over. Men have accepted that and adjusted. The difference is the women are not bringing in, women in mass are bringing this. Ask them what you want, you get War and Peace. Ask you what you bring to the table, you can't write it on the back of a stamp. You get access to my body, which is not virgin, which is not even low miles, which you've given to somebody before. And in some cases, you've even shared your womb. You're not even really feminine like women used to be. You don't even have the domestic skills, the home skills. So I would submit today that modern women are asking for an unfair deal from modern men.
So we should go back to 1950 and make it more fair?
Well, I tell you what's happening is the men have accepted this and they're deciding I am either not going to play this game because I cannot earn what these guys around you are earning, and they're just opting to walk away. And the men
this is true, right? The more that women are saying that, like, yo, I only want a man that's going to make six figures, and if you're not making six figures by the age that you're 23 or something like that, then you need to, you're not worth my time we're pursuing, just because I'm ready to live life on my own terms, or not really. It's not even that. It's more like they're not really trying to build anything. They just want to be pampered, right? Especially when they're younger. And it's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, you're missing out on so many great and wonderful opportunities, right? To be with somebody who's actually really gonna love you for you and want to experience you for you, who's gonna want to actually go through and go through and build something with you, something that lasts, something that actually creates memories with. And the more that women are now, they're rejecting that. So then of course you're gonna have these men who you just, I'm done with it for right now. You're not worth trying to pursue to have something long term. So at this point, it's might as well just for me to have fun, stack up, not really commit to you, and then once I actually have some money, then I can go ahead and do. I can go ahead and be the guy that you wanted me to be, but for the younger version of you. That's really just kind of how it works, and it's really unfortunate, just because you think about it, it's not really a common thing in America for men, for a lot of men, not even a lot of men, a lot of people anyways, to be making six figures, right? Over $100,000. That's not really a common thing here, right? The majority of the U.S. population is somewhere between the $60,000 to $35,000 range, right? So again, if you realize that and know that statistic, then it's what are you're really, the thing that you're saying that you want, it's your odds are heavily stacked against you. And it's not anything about settling. It's just about knowing where you're at the moment. It's possible. It's at this point, you're pretty much saying you're willing to take a lottery ticket, right? At this point, just because, why not? Your odds of winning is something like that is really just a line to playing the lotto, where on the adversely, you can actually go ahead and build something with somebody who has values that you would want to have in your future partner and things of that nature. You guys can go ahead and build something together. Now, guaranteed, there's no guarantee that's going to work. But just like in everything in life, there's no guarantee that anything is going to work out. But it's really just about the journey and how you enjoy the time that you have with one another.
Are earning that have an overwhelming amount of options. They have a plethora of options. Men in the top 10%, top 5%. I'm 51 years old and I can pick whatever I want because women all want the same kind of man. And if you have options just like you're not going to do what? Settle. Men didn't make the marketplace this way, ladies. You fought for it to be this way. This is freedom. Freedom comes with responsibility.
It's true. Like, do you not realize that we do all this stuff for you? Right? The reason why people get cars and all this other stuff like that, they go into debt and all this stuff is because they're trying to attract women, right? We're doing all this for you guys because you guys dictate how you want things to be, right? And for us to be able to create and pass on our genes, like we have to go through you. There's no other way for us to do that unless we want to be like some sperm donors or something like that. But at the same time, no, because like we want to have a connection, we want to build that family, we want to grow and experience life, but we can only experience life through you guys.
Clearly not for men.
No. See, when men were paying the bills, when we had the old system, men were expected to fight the wars, dig the ditches, build the buildings, pay all the bills. And when a divorce or something happened, men had to pay. Now women fought for equality. So you get upset when you deal with 50-50 mindset men.
Nah, I mean, I'd rather be an
do
independent, rich woman and be single than to be stuck with a man who doesn't give a shit
And
about
I
me
would rather
cheats
pay
on me.
more than half of the
And
bills.
Absolutely, exactly.
Okay, first off, you said you'd rather be in it, and if that's what you choose to be, great, you can do that. That's a choice.
And I get what,
and you can do that.
exactly.
But the thing is, but the funny thing is, you would think that, and especially in my community, strong, independent, such and so forth, the amount of women who are high earners, independent, and miserable is amazing. Halle Berry.
Why they're miserable is because they use their power in a demeaning way. Like, if you don't realize like the things that money can do and the amount of access that money gives you, if you're not an asshole or a dick about it, right? You can do so much with your resources that you have. But if you're using your resources to demean your partner, nobody's gonna want to stick around for that, right? I don't care how much the money is, right? It's not, as a man, we're not gonna stick around for that. Yeah, I'd rather just go ahead and be with somebody who's going to appreciate me for me and see the value in me, not somebody who's just going to demean me and things of that nature, just because they hold a higher leverage than me at the moment, right? So if that's what you're on trying to do, then you're not gonna get to nobody that way. But if you're on some here's $10,000, right? Let's go ahead and invest this money. Let's put this money in the stock market. Hey, while I'm making this money, if you can find out a way how to flip this or double this or something, that'll be a great help for us. Like if you guys came at it with the mindset of that, there's no stopping you guys, right? There's nothing stopping like these high successful women for being successful and happy and fulfilling in life. But what they're looking for a man to actually pamper them and take care of them, with his high success and things of that nature, right? So it's unfortunate.
Halle Berry, once the most beautiful woman on the face of the planet, 3 times in a row, is complaining about child support. She's rich, she's beautiful, she's miserable. How about this? There used to be a time where men and women actually did not war with one another. We didn't have these contentious things. We accepted that men were men, women were women. We acknowledged each other's differences. We respected those things and let the world work. In the last 70 years, we've decided let's rejigger everything and it's not working.
and you could rape your wife and she didn't have any rights and you could beat her.
Now, what's going on, guys?
Going through the such extreme examples on this, right? Now, granted, there were cases of this, so we're not going to dismiss it and act like that wasn't the case. But at the same time, it wasn't all that bad for everybody. And some people it was, and I am so sorry for them because nobody deserves to go through that at any point in any period throughout their time. But there was a time at this point where this actually worked, and this was for the betterment of our society and our culture and things of that nature, right? So
This is the sign language that goes on again. This is when they go to the horror stories. In the black community, we call this the color purpling of Black America. Miss Seeley, these things could happen, sure, but they did not happen in mass. You did not go to suburbia and see women's eyes hanging out of their socket.
I highly disagree with you.
Okay.
I mean, raping your wife was such a huge deal. It didn't even get.
I said eyes hanging out of your socket. You talking about? I'm not going to use that word because I'm on somebody's platform.
Right.
Can we not use that word though?
Because
can we not use that? Can we not use that word? It's YouTube sensitive.
I'm sorry. What word?
The R word.
Par spelled backwards.
It dings the platform.
Okay.
I'm not rejecting the concept.
But
And yes, ma'am, it happened.
Right?
But ma'am, but what you're trying
I think that world was better for me.
Okay, well then if the world is better for you, then accept the things that come along with a better world.
I just think that everything you guys are presenting are opinions and they're not facts.
Well, actually, there are more facts than you want to deal with because all I deal with based on facts.
There are things that you guys want to say are facts.
Okay, ma'am.
Statistics that show me
Here
this.
we go.
Where
Okay,
if we pulled up the statistics and showed you, would you still believe it? The fact that we're able to have a conversation this long on it means that these are more than just ideas or opinions and things of that nature. No, these things are submitted in facts and research and our lived experience over time for us to be able to say, hey, the majority of people are kind of like this, right? So come on.
ma'am. My show, all I deal with facts and statistics.
women that are happy in their environment, knowing they're being cheated on, knowing these things are happening to them, and you find them for me.
How many women we have
Excuse
on
me, hold on. Let me ask the question again. Ask the question again.
here?
You go find
Like-
these women that are being happy, being cheated on. They're
There's no
happy,
way.
and
Excuse me. Hold on. Excuse me.
Let me pause this real quick. So, and I pause this a lot at this point, but think about this. Of all the things that can happen to you in your life, being cheated on, is that really such a big deal? It's a big deal for us in the West because if you cheat, you pretty much deserve to have nothing at this point, right? That's how they think about it in the West. And again, I don't condone cheating. I'm not saying that I do. I am a person that's upfront and honest about everything that I do. So I'm not going to cheat on you. If I'm feeling a certain way, I'm just gonna let you know like how I'm feeling, give you the space to, reciprocate that back to me. This is not a one-way street, right? So I can, just how I have the ability to let you know how I'm feeling, you can also let me know how you're feeling, right? It's a two-way thing that we have going on here. So, but cheating is not really that bad. But people in the US or really around the world, you guys take lives over infidelity because you act like you own a person when you don't. You don't own anybody. The only thing that it was is that you guys had an agreement that you guys were going to be together. But if you break the agreement, you break the agreement, right? Life still goes on. Now it's up to you if you want to still continue messing with that person or not. You have that choice. You have that right. But if the majority of your life is good, are you really going to let that derail the things that you have? If this is a big issue for you, then you know what? Yes, by all means. At the end of the day, it's going to make you happy is important, right? And like what you can stand for. You got to have your own beliefs on what it is that you can stand for. For me, I'm on the fence, right? And the reason why I say I'm on the fence is because it really kind of depends on how far along we are in the relationship. What do we have going on? What is it, right? What do we have tied up together for me to be like, yeah, yes, I want to keep going, or no, you know what, we can go ahead and stop now. If this is, within the first 6 months or something like that, yeah, you know what, I'm good, I'm done. I'm walking away from that. I don't have to do that. But if it's, we're talking like maybe couple years down the line or something like that, yeah, we're definitely gonna have a conversation. We're gonna see where you're at. So we see like, is this something that is gonna continue to happen, or like what is it that we want to do? Like, how do we, really have that conversation of like, getting things in order. Like, is this what you really want? Is not what you really want? Things of that nature. And then, we go about it as adults. But, I'm never going to be like, oh, you cheat on me, I'm going to murder you or do anything to you, anything like that. No, like, it's not that deep. It's not that serious. Like, there's plenty of other women out here in the world, and there's plenty of other men out here in the world for you to just be throwing your life away over somebody who didn't value your time or value their commitment to you, right? Don't make lifelong decisions over temporary things. I think that's how that goes.
I can go. I'll let you know. I can go out to where I used to live in Dallas, in Highland Park. I knew at least 6 of them. Six of them, because they were. Excuse me, ma'am.
That have been.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. If you let me explain to you, I will.
You're not letting me finish my thought, and then you
asked a question. You asked a question. Go find these women, and I'm going to tell you where I found them.
My thought wasn't over. I said in successful marriages.
Okay, in successful marriages.
10 years later,
and they're still married. Still married. There was a soccer. The soccer mom. Okay. Do you want to hear or not?
Well, I mean, I just don't. I would.
You see, I could give you the example, and you still won't accept it, because there are some women who accept the fact that, you know what, if I want to have a man that's making $400,000-$500,000 a year, that kind of living, he's not going to be able to go to the PTA meetings. He's going to have to work his butt off and maybe travel a lot. And guess what? They have an arrangement. But guess what? As long as you don't bring in home any outside babies, no diseases, and don't embarrass me in public, we're good. Guess what? She can also do what she wants to do as well. And they have an understanding, because when the marital rate in this country, the divorce rate in this country is over 51%. But when you cross a net income of $250,000, it drops to 20%, because people with more money got more reasons to stay together, and they find a way.
That's powerful, right? And then, like, really just think about that. People with more money, they're able, the way how they think about relationships, they're able to negotiate, or they're able to talk about the terms that they want to have in a relationship. But for us people who, like, you're not used to that, or you're not around that lifestyle, you don't, like, especially the guy, like, you don't really think about, like, how do I want to set the terms of my relationship, right? You just like, I like this woman, I like you, I want to be with you. But you don't really set, like, these, hey, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what you're gonna do, this is how, like, we don't think of that. But I feel like that could be why we're not on that level of what we want, right? Because we're not exploring those opportunities, if we even want that. Like, we are still, and it's crazy, like, when you think about this, but like the percentage of people that we're in, right? More, and I say we as in the people who's like watching this, because again, like, we wouldn't be watching this if our life was different, right? But it's not. So we're taking these jewels, we're taking all this information in hopes that one day we'll be able to get to that point. But for where we're at right now in the society, we're the ones who are being fed the Cinderella story to keep us in check, when the upper people, they're not even doing that Cinderella love and all this other stuff like that. Like, they are, but not even really to extent like that. It's more of a contractual business type of thing. But on the lower level, it's just made it seem like, oh no, we're in love, and it's this whole grandiose thing. But on that level, it's it can be different based on what you want for yourself, right? You have more options there. But if you're able to bring that down to a level to like where you can manage it, then you can be happy in any situation that you want in your life. Like the only thing it takes is just a conversation, right? If you straight up had a conversation and present your significant other with different options to say, hey, you know, how would you feel about this? How would you feel about that? You never know like what your life can be. But if you're always just on, no, it has to be this, has to be this, has to be this one way, and you're not thinking about any other options or any other ways that you want to have or even structure your relationship, then what do you expect is going to happen?
They find a way to do it all the time.
I respect your opinion because
That's
at
a
least
fact.
it's fair. At
That's
least
a
you
fact.
people get to have a part of a deal instead of just men get to cheat and women are going to sit at home and deal with it.
What I just gave you was a fact that anybody can look at.
See, for her, Sable, what her thing was, this whole entire argument to this thing was that she feels like it's not fair for her because men can go and cheat on their women and it be fine, but women cannot go and cheat, and it's looked at in a different way, right? When all she really wants is her man to be faithful, but her man's not being faithful. But now she's okay because now she had information that says that, hey, you know what, you can be with this high successful man, but set the terms of your relationship to where if he gets to mess around, then you get to mess around too and have your fun, right? If that's what you're in it for, then that's what you're in it for, right? But now her mood has changed, you know, with this, because now she feels like, okay, well then yeah, I can go ahead and do that.
Well, but again, I'm more okay with what you're saying. You're telling me it's going both ways, not just one.
Well, I'm telling you, it always has gone both ways. But the way you guys are set up is it's always women are the victims. And that's that feminism crap. I don't think women are victims. I think women can pick and choose. I think there are plenty of women like Melania Trump to choose to be married to a guy like Donald Trump and knew exactly what she was getting, was perfectly fine with being where she is. That's a choice.
I don't think I've ever sat
She
here
is
and
the
claimed
worst.
to be a victim.
Yeah, she is the worst. I mean, she's probably the best example because I'm not a Trump fan.
She is literally the best example of that, right? You can't get any more of her example, right? This is what she wanted. This is things she decided to put up with. All right, cool. You know what? It is what it is. So yeah.
Fan, but like, she's the worst example to bring into that because it's like she's not.
She had the freedom to choose, and she chose.
She did.
So are you going to negate her choice?
Absolutely. She wasn't an American. She made her choices based on.
What is she wasn't American. She made her choice based on what? Right. I'm going to stop you there. No, it doesn't. You don't have to be American to be able to make choices, right? Like, we're not some supreme society that you think that we are. That's not true in any way, right? So get out of here with that.
Gentlemen, fairness. See, this is what it is. This is selective feminism. It's feminism only when it goes with what I think. Thank you for proving my point.
I would like to make a point, actually. So if we brought up that plenty of Colombian women run game on white guys in Miami for citizenship, we would act like they're victims.
No, it is what it is. That's a contract. That's an agreement, right? That's the terms of their relationship that they have. They don't care. Like, they don't care. They understand that they're being used, and they're happy to be used because they're getting a service from the woman. Like, that's how this thing works, man. It's not that deep.
No, I wouldn't.
Guys,
I wouldn't.
Melania Trump does the same thing.
No, I wouldn't.
Citizenship. She gets some cash. She gets what you are perceiving as
she got a deal. So let me explain. Let me say something, guys. Let me explain something to you ladies. What men and women have always done is not worried about the Western notion ideal of marriage. What men and women have traditionally done is sat down and negotiated and hammered out a deal. And that's what they do. You hammer out a deal. Melania Trump got a deal. She is not a prisoner. She could have chosen to leave. This is a free country. If Donald Trump wanted her to stay and she wanted to leave, she could have. She chose to be there.
Yeah, but we're not all like Melania Trump.
And
that is not a valid argument.
No,
but it is,
I would like.
It is not. Because that's not a valid argument.
We're
I'm
not
saying the fact that there are women who make choices that
You're not like her doesn't mean that you don't have a choice. You can have a choice to choose the type of lifestyle that you want for yourself.
She gets some cash. She gets what you are perceiving as
a deal. So let me say something, guys. Let me say something to you, ladies. What men and women have always done is not worried about the Western notion ideal of marriage. What men and women have traditionally done is sat down and negotiated and hammered out a deal. And that's what they do. You hammer out a deal. Melania Trump got a deal. She is not a prisoner. She could have chosen to leave. This is a free country. Donald Trump wanted her to stay and she wanted to leave. She could have. She chose to be there.
Yeah, but we're not all like Melania Trump.
And that is not a valid argument.
No, but I would like.
It's not. Because that's not a valid argument. I'm saying the fact that there are women who make choices that you don't understand, but they're free to make them.
Hey, yo, check out G. G's the one on the right hand side, man. She's eating all this up. She's like, okay, bet. All right, I'm taking all the information that you're saying, and you know what? I'm gonna move accordingly. These other two women, nah. G, quiet, just like, all right, bet. I see how it is.
situations.
But again, you're talking about choices that are going both ways, when what I have been getting annoyed with is there is no sense of fairness, and it's what exactly.
There is no fairness in dating, ma'am. That's what you don't seem to get. There's no fairness in this. All's fair in love and war. It's not fair. It's survival.
I don't owe you any explanation in dating. Dating is an opportunity for me to fill you out, to see like what is it that, like, how you're gonna work with me in my life, or how am I gonna work with you in your life. Like that's what dating is. You're not gonna get the whole life story in the date. No, you kind of get that all throughout, the time of being together with that person. But but there are things that you can do to kind of speed up the results that you want. If you want to pursue, you just got to be willing to ask the right questions that you need for yourself.
All's fair in love and war. This is not fair. It's survival.
I'm glad I know now. I just got a lot of empowerment.
Now that I heard everybody's opinion here, it's like I don't even want to date. Like
Oh, I do.
I'm gonna be even more exactly.
But understand something, and you can do that. But here's the thing.
Man,
and that's fine. But here's the thing, and while you're running game, the game will be played as well. That's fine, and men are okay with that. See, men are okay with the women.
Okay with that though.
Ma'am, you ladies set up the rules. We are playing the game that modern women have set up.
So Kevin, and I don't know if you heard it, but again, one of the things that's bothered me is that again, it's men can do this, but women can't.
Such as?
Again, the cheating thing. Well, if you're the 1% of men, then you get to do this, and it's because women show, love differently and blah blah blah.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: if you are with a 1% man and you're cheating, you better not get. If you need to know your man.
Neither are
some men. I will say this: I know men in the 1% whose wives have. What do you think the porn where she's sleeping with the pool boy, the postman, came from? Women cheated. The Postman Rings Twice was a very famous movie in the 70s. Ladies, there are some men who understand their wives cheat. There are just rules to it.
But again, I like that you're telling me we're setting a plan up front, because that's not what's been being said here.
That's always what it comes down to.
He loves you. He ain't gonna let you know he's cheating.
There is something that comes down there is some man on the planet that you can actually make a deal with that you could accept. Now the point is, can you find them before time runs out? But that's how it always comes down to. There are blanket generalizations that are broadly true for most people. But we're human beings. Everyone has a choice. Some guys cannot tolerate any cheating. Well, then if you need to get your itch scratched and you know what you got on the line, you got to rate the risk reward. Because if you want to risk it,
aim lower, I guess, lower your expectations, because if you're dating, above the 1%, then you might get somebody that's not going to fucking cheat, right?
Maybe.
Well, hold on. And see, the notion of this whole aim lower, this is why when women say this, I don't think you realize that people... When I don't think a lot of times you ladies understand when you say aim lower, you're in that lower too.
Where's the crickets button?
I don't aim lower. I'm not going to aim lower. I'm just going
That
to
is
stop
something I
being
just
such
put
a nice
out there.
person.
I'm
But
just
the fact that here's some realities. Women control access to sex and determine whether or not a life is brought into the world. Men control access to relationships and marriage. So you can aim whatever you want to, but unfortunately, men across the board, low value to high, control access to relationship. That's what we control. So this is what I was saying earlier. Ladies across the board, you can have your standards, your point of view, but when it comes right down to it, the way you guys were talking is if you had leverage over the kind of men that was in the discussion. You don't. Those men have leverage.
That's true. They don't have leverage over the men that they are claiming that they want. So at this point, they're really just crying to the wolves, or however that saying goes, because they're really just complaining that, hey, I don't have any leverage to be able to get this guy that I want, because he's ultimately the one dictating on, no pun intended, right? But he's ultimately the one like deciding like, yo, what is it that I want to accept? I don't have to accept you. I don't have to put up with this. You know, it may sting, but no, like this is not something that I want to deal with anymore, right? And that's all. He has that ability to do that. But guess what? You also have that ability to do it too.
Those men have leverage.
Over the women. You're not competing. You're competing with the women around him. Everything that you ladies are saying, I won't tolerate this, such and so forth. There are plenty of other women to be like, shit, okay, fine. What else? Is that it? No problem.
saying we're not 1% like they are.
I'm saying that there are more women wanting them than there are men. There's 1%. That means 99% aren't. And almost 100% of women want the same 1% of men. The Petro principle.
Oh yeah.
There are more women trying to, okay, you've all been into a club at some point in your life. There's a regular club and there's VIP. The guys who are in VIP are looked at differently than the guys who are standing online.
That's not fair, Kevin.
Well, what the guys in VIP had to make. See, the thing is, one thing that most women don't seem to realize, and it's very simple. Women are born with inherent value. So they really can't understand the concept that we men have to deal with, that we have to make ourselves valuable. So when men hear that we have to make ourselves valuable, we accept the world as it is, and we don't sit back and say, well, it's not fair. We just deal with the world as it is. Here's the principle. Women can never objectively understand the male journey and struggles, so don't try to explain. In general, they see everything through rose-colored glasses, being born with inherent value. You earn all of your value as a man, and it's your greatest opportunity that you could hope for. Women are born with value.
That's where I'm gonna leave that. And it's true with what he's saying, right? Like, women, you guys have value in the fact that you are technically what we seek, right? Men have to create the value in themselves to be able to get an opportunity to be with you. That's just how this life works out. We don't complain about it. It is what it is. And if there's anything, from our fellas out here, and ladies too, that I would say take away from this is that start creating value in yourself. What he mentioned about being in the club, VIP, looking differently, that hit me so hard, mainly because like I remember when I used to be in a club and not in VIP, I didn't necessarily feel some type of way, but I felt some type of way. You feel me? Right? It was just like, one of those things, right? But at the same time, like, I mean, I wasn't just gonna shell out all that money just being VIP for myself. No. But if I would have known that, hey, you know what? If I'm looking for the type of enjoyment that these guys in VIP is having, this is the things that I need to do in order to get here, I would have gotten there a lot sooner than what I am right now, right? If I would have known that, hey, you know what? I just need to work on myself, get my bread up and all this other stuff like that, and I'll be straight. to be able to, you know, mess around and all this other stuff, and like have the ability to do it on a level that like I create the terms, then yeah, I would have done that a long time ago. But unfortunately, I didn't get that memo until, you know, a little bit later on in life. But for you guys, like, listen, fresh out of high school, getting started going to college, really don't rush into getting into anything right now. Really just kind of focus and hone in on yourself, especially if you're a man. If the thing is though, love hits you when you don't expect it to. So I would never tell you not to go on the journey. Always go on the journey, but always make sure that you're bettering yourself, right? If you also have to be honest with yourself to know, like, is this the right time for me to be dating, or if it's not, or if this is not a right time for me to be dating, right? It's expensive. It really is, to be able to provide for another person, even just to go on dates, like, and how women are now, like they want you to make all the plans and do everything, you know. At least that's kind of how it's always been, for me anyways. So that's a lot of money that like you have to be able to shell out to go on dates and things of that nature. But I mean, you don't have to put the money, but a lot of women, like, you know, they expect some type of effort or something, whatever it is that you do for that. But it's if you really want to kind of live that lifestyle of like that free and things of that nature, then just go ahead and get your bread up, you know, you'll be all right. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be in the whole video. I might end up cutting some of this up, but you know, I do just want to say thank you guys again for being with me and rocking with me here. I'm going to definitely make sure I put out more video and more content, and just kind of give you my idea, my mindset on how I kind of view these things on life. Again, this is Evan with Adrift Intercourse. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.